This is the second video of chapter 1. Which parts of the brain are affected by drug use? Brain areas affected by drug use include the basal ganglia, basal ganglia, extended amygdala, and prefrontal cortex. Okay, so have a look at this picture. These are three main areas that is affected by drug use, among others, basal ganglia, extended amygdala, and prefrontal cortex. And what does it do to a human being? The basal ganglia. The basal ganglia plays an important role in positive forms of motivation, including the pleasurable effects of healthy activities like eating, socializing, etc. These areas form what is called brain's reward circuit. Drugs overactivate the circuit, producing the euphoria of drug high. Okay, so this is a reward circuit in the basal ganglia. The basal ganglia is an area that plays a very important role in positive forms of motivation, like giving pleasure, of eating, socializing, healthy activities. You understand? So what the drug does is it triggers this reward circuit, and therefore it creates the feeling of euphoria. Then the extended amygdala. The extended amygdala plays a role in stressful feelings like anxiety, irritability, and unease, which is seen during the withdrawal after the drug high fades, and this makes a person want more drugs. The third one is a prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex powers the ability to think, plan, solve problems, make decisions, and exert self-control over impulses. This is also the last part of the brain to mature, making teens most vulnerable. Okay, so remember these three names and areas of the brain: basal ganglia, extended amygdala, and prefrontal cortex, and how drugs affect these areas. Next question: what is meant by substance abuse? Substance abuse can be defined as a pattern of harmful use of any substance for mood altering purposes. Okay, so when we talk of drugs, all kinds of drug abuse, alcohol abuse fall under substance abuse. So what does substance abuse mean? You can use this usage, substance abuse, when you write essays or short answers on drug abuse. Substance abuse can be defined as a pattern of harmful use of any substance for mood altering purposes. Substances can include alcohol and other drugs, as well as some substances that are not drugs at all. What is the meaning of getting high in drug use? So getting high ennu parnja endana? Getting high in drug use means creating an altered state of mind or consciousness. Drugs alters the cells throughout the human body and can cause sensations like euphoria or panic. What is withdrawal symptom? Withdrawal symptom, also known as discontinuation syndrome, occurs in individuals who have developed psychological dependence on drugs or alcohol and to discontinue or reduce their use. Withdrawal syndrome, when people stop using drugs or alcohol all of a sudden, they have lots of symptoms that they exhibit, like headache and vomiting and irritability and anxiety. Suppose a person is a real addict, heavily addicted, sudden withdrawal can actually cause death. Okay, so what is withdrawal syndrome is also known as discontinuation syndrome, occurs in individuals who have developed physiological dependence on drugs or alcohol and who discontinue or reduce their use of it. Withdrawal syndrome can include anxiety, sweating, vomiting, irritability, fatigue, shaking, insomnia, etc. The sudden withdrawal from certain drugs can be fatal, can actually kill people. State Section 64 of the NDPS Act. Section 64 of Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1985 states that immunity from prosecution to addicts volunteering for treatment, provided that the said immunity from prosecution may be withdrawn if the addict does not undergo the complete treatment for de-addiction. It just means that, if an addict is ready to go into de-addiction, he will not be punished. Okay, he will not be prosecuted, he will not be punished, but he has to completely go through the de-addiction treatment. He cannot just go there for some time and then escape from there. He has to go through the entire process, and then he will not be prosecuted. What is the best treatment for a drug user? It is said that the best treatment for a drug user emphasizes phenomena related to the individual's life. This includes areas such as medical, psychological, and work related needs, as well as issues in relationship with other people in the person's life. The treatment sessions combine medication and behavioral therapy so that the victim of drug abuse gradually stops feeling the urge to do drugs. It's just not a medical intervention, it's also a psychological intervention. It's giving them a lot of support. You understand? So, what is the best treatment എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവരുടെ സൈക്കോളജിക്കൽ സപ്പോർട്ട് കൊടുക്കണം, അവരുടെ റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് വിത്ത് അതർ പീപ്പിൾ നോക്കണം. Sometimes it might be their circumstances. Then, of course, medical help. So, everything, all that together is the best treatment for a drug user. Discuss briefly the scheme implemented by the Haryana government to curb the issue of drug use. The Haryana government implemented a scheme titled, it's titled, put a D here, titled Central Sector Scheme for Assistance for Prevention of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse, to curb the issue of drug abuse. Under the scheme, financial assistance was given to the eligible NGOs, Panchayati Raj institutions, and urban local bodies by the government, which in turn will provide integrated services for the rehabilitation of addicts. What was Delhi AIDS Control Society's plan to overcome the scarcity of psychiatrists and trained manpower to work with patients of drug abuse? The Delhiയിൽ drug abuse ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കാരുമായിട്ട് ഡീൽ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടുള്ള പേഴ്സണൽ കുറവായിരുന്നു, ട്രെയിൻഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ കുറവായിരുന്നു. സോ വാട്ട് ഡിഡ് ഡൽഹി എയ്ഡ്സ് കൺട്രോൾ society do? How did they plan to bridge this gap? The Delhi AIDS Control Society suggested a plan in which more than 400 medical officers working in 260 Delhi government dispensaries and 150 specialists working in 32 Delhi government hospitals will be trained on a long-term basis at the Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences, as there is a scarcity of psychiatrists and trained manpower to work with patients of drug abuse. So what do? They take 150 specialists, 400 medical officers working in 260 Delhi government dispensaries and 150 specialists working in 32 Delhi government hospitals, and they will be trained, on a long-term basis at IHBAS, and they will be given the opportunity to work with the patients or with people who are addicted to drugs. All right, so in that way the scarcity for people will be reduced. So that is it. Watch the video again and go through the notes that are given to you, and I think your exams are coming. All the best.